All right, well, welcome to the last session of the last day of our online virtual Earth Day Festival. I'm very excited to be here. It's been a really rich couple of days, and that last conversation with Annie Leonard really lit me up, and I'm excited to be working again with my co-conspirator, David Pello. So we are going to experiment with something here, and this feels like a good time in society to be experimenting with new ways of being together. Many of you know that for several years, we would do an in-person climate leadership summit at Earth Day, and it was a really robust and kind of a great way for people to make connections, hear what other people were working on, and really share business cards or discussions, conversations. But we haven't been able to do that, obviously, for a couple of years. So this afternoon, we are going to try another way of being together. So we're going to model this after our in-person session, and then the first hour, and we are going to be listening to speakers, very short one-offs, people standing up who had pre-registered with us to let us know what they're working on and what they need help with. We'll outline the parameters for that in just a moment. I want to invite David Pello, if you care to, David, to say just a couple of words about what excites you about our convening here, and then I will come back to it and give us some direction.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sigrid, and thanks to everybody for showing up today. Welcome to the Climate Leadership Summit. We, as Sigrid says, we host this event every year. We have a number of goals. You know, we want to bring people together to share updates on the exciting work that you're doing in our city, in our region, and also, of course, to make an opportunity, a space for people to connect with each other so that we can collaborate and amplify our efforts to create positive change in the city of Santa Barbara, in the county of Santa Barbara, in the Central Coast region. I'm David Pello, chair of the Environmental Studies program here at UCSB. One of the things that excites me about the work that I do is that I'm surrounded by people like you, and every day I'm working to train future leaders in every sector, government, industry, and NGOs. I'm a proud board member of CEC as well, and a member of the Central Coast Climate Justice Network, which is an amazing force of nature, really, that emerged from this very event a few years ago. I also just want to give a plug that we are working on a Green New Deal framework for our region, the Central Coast. We're going to have a rollout, a launch of that framework on May 15th, so there will be more information to follow. Anyway, I am looking forward to hearing from our speakers today. Super excited about the breakout groups where folks, again, can get the opportunity to share and connect with other leaders and up-and-coming leaders in our community and make plans for making good trouble. So now I'll turn it back over to my good friend and colleague, Sigrid Wright, for the next steps.
Thank you, David. All right, so I think we have more critical mass as people are coming in here. So I'm Sigrid Wright. I'm the CEO for the Community Environmental Council, and we are the host for this Santa Barbara Earth Day Festival. One of the last sessions that we just did here was the Environmental Hero Award to Annie Leonard from Greenpeace US, and there was just so much juicy stuff in that conversation. You know, as Annie said, the era of moderation is over. We have wasted any time that we may have had to take little tiny baby steps, as she would say. This is our window. This is the moment. There are no do-overs. What I was particularly lit up about in that conversation was the discussion around addressing this as a systems problem. And as Annie said, for a long time, we've been trapped in this myth that the truth will set us free, but as she said, the truth alone we will not win. What we really need to do is build power, and we cannot do that if we are a small, homogenous group. We have to reach across the aisle, listen and connect, and build a multiracial, multinational, multi-generational mass movement to protect life as we know it. So I would say that's what today is about. This is our our best attempt given that we cannot still physically be together. And so we have structure today to particularly try to attract voices outside of Santa Barbara and voices, youth voices. As I mentioned when we opened this event a couple of days ago, in the spring of 1970, it was a group of young people fresh out of college who demanded action, who formed the Community Environmental Council, one of the first environmental groups on the Central Coast, who were really outraged by the devastating impacts of the 1969 oil spill, as well as other environmental losses around the country. And it was that youth movement that hosted a teach-in for the environment that became a national event modeled after the teach-ins of the Vietnam War. And they were really pulling from the kind of the civil rights movement and how to engage in righteous civil disobedience, righteous group mass action, as well as really reaching kind of across the aisle. So today, what we are going to do is frame I think it's about a dozen, maybe not quite, short talks that we put an invitation out to hear from folks. We're going to tightly time these. These are 3 minutes each, and we actually have a little timer up, so you can see where you're at with your talk. And we're going to hear what people are thinking about, what they're working on, and where specifically they need help, right? So I know that 3 minutes is not very much time, but that's how we're asking you to kind of frame your session, which is your name, if there's an affiliation, if you want to share an affiliation, what you're working on, and specifically where you need help from the group. So with that, I do want to just also say before we get started, we're in this really unique moment. There's a lot that's been happening just in the last couple of months, and it does feel like we're in this this moment in time where action is possible. Between President Biden's climate announcement yesterday about reducing carbon emissions by 50% by 2030, Governor Newsom's announcement yesterday to ban fracking by 2024. CEC and Michael Chiakos is working on a California bill, SB 582, which would codify a goal of zero net emissions by 2035. Basically, really similar to what the cities of Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo have already done, the targets that they have already led, that they've already set. So this is, there's a lot of action, a lot of opportunity, as well as some things that really need our attention. All right. So with that, I know I'm moving us quickly, but I want to make sure that we get lots of time to hear from folks. I am going to ask our first speaker, Garrett Wong, if you are here, we're going to ask you to come up first, and right behind Garrett, let me just check my notes, please. Right behind Garrett is Michelle Sevilla, and right after that is Alexis Rizzo. So I'm going to cue it up like that so you can get ready. Garrett, could you please share with us? Garrett's from the Santa Barbara County One Climate Initiative. Garrett, please take it away. Garrett, are you with us? Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Sigrid. Sorry I can't show my face on screen. I'm on the road, but I'm a passenger in the vehicle today, so don't be concerned for my safety. As Sigrid said, I am the Climate Program Manager for the County of Santa Barbara, and hopefully most of you are aware of the One Climate Initiative that we launched just late last year. The county is leading on a variety of different long-range planning efforts to mitigate and prepare for climate change. The first one being a climate change vulnerability assessment. The next project being an active transportation plan to make sure that we're walking and biking with safety and comfort around the county area. And then my project more specifically is the 2030 Climate Action Plan. And this plan, the Climate Action Plan, is the vehicle that will ensure that the county can meet its goals, which are now in line with the state goals, which are now in line with the federal climate goals of reaching a 50% reduction of our county emissions by 2030. This is no small feat. We have a lot of sticky sectors that we need to address, including transportation, including agriculture sectors, including building natural gas. And so, as Sigrid had mentioned, time is short, but our ambitions still remain at large. And we need really the community support in ideating and developing and then ultimately implementing the project programs, policies that we're going to come conceive of. So your participation is really helpful to make sure that we get those ideas and we build momentum behind them. So if you are interested in learning more about this project and any other project under the One Climate Initiative, you can visit countyofsb.org/oneclimate. If I have a little bit of time left, the last thing I'll mention that there's a multi-sector network that the county is helping to grow. And there are people here who are also part of that network, and that's the Santa Barbara County Regional Climate Collaborative. And the Regional Climate Collaborative is a multi-sector network of different organizations, agencies, and individuals all working to solve the complex challenges that climate change poses for our region. We know that no single agency, no single organization can solve it alone, so we have to work together. So if you're interested in being a part of those intersectoral, interdisciplinary, and regional solution making, then please join us also at countyofsb.org/collaborative. Thank you.
Okay, so that was an invitation to participate in the county's climate action planning. And Garrett provided a website address for that. Thank you. And we are collecting all of these, I should have said that earlier, we're collecting all of these kind of asks and putting them into a document that we will be sharing with you. But I do want to move us along. Michelle Sevilla, you are up next, and then Alexis Rizzo, you are after that.
Thank you so much, Sigrid. Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Irobon Sevilla. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm a steering committee member of 350 Santa Barbara, a completely grassroots chapter of the national and international organization 350.org, led by Bill McKibben. One of our biggest asks at this moment is, after reeling from our coalition effort, major win against fighting the Cat Canyon oil development projects in North County, Santa Barbara, is to assist us. And by joining and lending support, we are welcoming new members all the time. We are also launching several campaigns at the statewide level to support both, Senator Monique Limon, Senator Rayner's joint goal of banning fracking in the state of California, which Governor Newsom also just released with his latest announcement just the other day in regards to phasing out fracking as well as oil by the state by 2045. And while I have some time left, I also am proud to announce that 350 has been participating in a number of great coalition efforts, namely the Central Coast Climate Justice Network, where we pair and have been building the relationship between traditional or more environmental focused organizations and bridging connections with our social justice organization partners in our mutual goals for environmental and climate justice. The network has been 2 to 3 years in the making of just building trust and needed relationships, trying to dispel any, disparities and disagreements, and helping vision for both Santa Barbara and Ventura counties a mutual future of a future that's friendlier towards climate, that still incorporates social justice goals, and never leaving anyone behind. And I guess that our ask for the Central Coast Climate Justice Network is that if you're interested to support the network or interested in what we're up to, that you may reach out to the Community Environmental Council, who is one of the founding organizations, as well as CAUSE. And 350 is also a participating organization among other stellar partners, such as La Casa de la Raza, for Food and Water Action, Surge, SB in Ventura County, and more.
Thank you, Michelle. And you all are modeling such great timing. Thank you. You're being very concise. I'm really appreciating it. Okay, so next up is Alexis Rizzo from CEC'S Transportation Electric Vehicle Access Program. After that will be Mark Alvarado, and after Mark will be Sharon Main.
Hi, yeah, my name's Alexis. I currently work for Community Environmental Council as an electric vehicle education and outreach intern. So I'll be talking a little bit about CEC's electric vehicle purchase guidance program. And so the program ask and need is for more people to make a switch to an electric vehicle. In California, transportation emissions have been rising, not falling each year. And so transportation is the single largest source of climate pollution in California. It's responsible for more than half of all California's carbon emissions. Most of these emissions come from cars and trucks that we see on our roads today. And so we all know this contributes to the climate crisis that we see not only on a global level, but also in our community today in Central Coast, such as wildfires and extended and more periodic heat waves. And so our reliance on gasoline and diesel for transportation is a root cause of these impacts. And so CEC's electric vehicle program is engaging the community to switch to electric vehicles. The state has made available state-funded benefits for switching to an electric vehicle in the form of grants, rebates, and tax incentives. And so our program at CEC is facilitating not only awareness of these programs, but essential access to them. So we're providing low to moderate level income households with free electric vehicle purchase guidance on a bilingual capacity to fit our community's needs. And so we're guiding our community members through the process of learning not only about the incentive programs, but guiding people and how to apply for them, and also providing guidance on which EVs should best fit their and or their family's needs. Essentially, we want our community members to feel confident in making the switch to an electric vehicle that may not have otherwise been financially feasible for them and for them without these incentives and our support. So our ask is to pledge to make your next vehicle an electric vehicle, to spread the word about our free EV purchase guidance for low to moderate level income households. You can sign up for free assistance if you think you might qualify as well. You can check out our website at electricdrive805.org. And some call to action requests from us is, if you drive, switching to an electric vehicle is one of the best ways to reduce your carbon emissions in your day-to-day life. So it's a really important aspect. And so if you can sign up as well at evseveryone.org to learn more about our free assistance. And other asks are just, spread the words about the impacts of transportation on the environment and our health in our communities. I think a lot of people overlook, we drive every day. And so overlooking that it's a huge problem. And so another small ask is just, walk, bike, scooter when you're making trips to nearby places as well. Thank you.
Great job, Alexis. We recently did a clinic on how to switch to electric vehicles, and it had over 200 people attend that. And Alexis, what I heard you say is if somebody has a question, like they personally want to make a transition to an electric vehicle, or they know somebody who does, we will walk them through the process, help them select the right, basically be a coach. Yep. And so that you can you can kind of get into that system on electricdrive805.org. Okay, Mark Alvarado, you are next. Sharon after that, and then Carmen Ramirez will be after Sharon.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Mark Alvarado. I'm the executive director of the One Community Bridge Project, and we're a cultural specific organization here in Santa Barbara that focuses on the performing arts. We're neighborhood specific to the east side and to the west side of Santa Barbara. We work in 3 census tracts that rival poverty in anywhere from Oakland to Los Angeles to Phoenix or El Paso, Texas, where have you. You wouldn't think, but if you are familiar with the state's Healthy People's Index that came out in the fall, you will find that in our communities that with housing, income, education, it's pretty embarrassing. But one good thing is that when on the environmental place on the index, that we score very high. So that's very interesting to look at. And so being culturally specific and being neighborhood specific, and you're wondering, well, how does this relate to environment and climate? Well, it does, because one of our goals is to establish cultural hubs and to work on the social well-being of our youth and families, because we are targeting youth and families that need these services the most, because it's tied in with education. And so, and I can use the East Side, for example, in the event of another disaster, where are people going to go for shelter? You know, and we have already a community campus in place with Franklin Elementary School, the Franklin Center. These places need to be converted into not only cultural hubs, but also environmental hubs. When it's 110 degrees, which with the direction we're heading, where are elderly going to go to cool off? We need to start planning for these specific situations. And so we're really just kind of focused on that. And I'm really thankful that Sharon Main reached out to us and really said, hey, let's align our work together. I'm doing the climate hubs, you're doing the cultural hubs. There is a window where people can come, not only during a disaster, but, you know, for food and for just information, just to work ourselves into a situation where people are able to get the services, to get them out of the marginalization that a lot of folks are dealing with. And so I want to give the example of how all this works with what we're currently doing on the rescue and protection of the murals in Ortega Park that you might be familiar with. And that really does speak to the social well-being of the community, because when you talk about community resilience, this is a fine example of how people are stepping up and saying, you know what, enough is enough. We're done. This whole issue of displacement, we're done. We need to step up and we need to speak up for our community and our neighborhood. Equity is tied in once again to education. The more that we educate our community about what's going on, then equity can work, you know, but it takes education and it takes organizing. And so the empowerment piece is really important. We did that today. We had about 150 people show up in the park today and spoke in favor of just some form of preservation, protection. But it couldn't have been done without how do we influence change and how do we influence power. And I have to recognize Representative Kristen Snedden is in the space right now. She's aligned herself with us. Representative Alejandra Gutierrez aligns herself. I see we have Carmen Ramirez with us, who's also an elected official who understands the need to partner with community. And if it wasn't for folks like Kristen and Carmen and Alejandra, you don't get that influence to change and to really deal with power in a way that's equitable for the community. And so really what we're really trying to do is bring a voice to the voiceless and create more community, create sustainable neighborhoods through this effort and partner. And the ask really is to partner more on the environmental tip, working with community, because the more our community becomes educated on what's going on with climate and with the environment, the better everybody's going to be.
Great call there. Thank you, Mark. Could you please put in the chat if there is a way to get involved with One Community Bridge, if you have a website or a way to get involved, if we could get that in the chat. And then later, in the second hour, we will be getting a chance to talk one-on-one or in small groups together. And I encourage you to connect with Mark, because that project has got a lot of layers to it. Sharon Main from CEC's Climate Resilience Program, you're going to speak next. Up after that will be Carmen Ramirez, and then after Carmen will be Barbara Wishingrad.
Right. Hi, I'm Sharon Main. I'm the Director of Climate Resilience at CEC. And as you know, we're in a climate emergency, and we need to immediately organize around safeguarding everyone from the climate impacts that are already underway. So CEC is adding climate resilience as a key pillar to our work. We're exploring, listening, and collaborating to see what's needed and how and where we can best support building community resilience. We just completed a series of climate resilience roundtables, which I know many of you participated in, where we listened and we gathered ideas for adapting to the climate threats to the region. Not only did we hear themes critical to climate resilience, such as centering equity, empowering communities, and working at the intersections of health, justice, and the environment, we also gathered over 700 community-generated ideas for climate resilience. Some of these ideas were common across the roundtable, such as building resilience at the neighborhood level, and others related to ensuring basic human needs are met in recognition that access to housing, food, and jobs are essential elements to resilience. And there is a need to collaborate across all sectors and have inclusive, accessible climate planning, which was an overarching theme at all of the roundtables. So after months of sifting through all these 700 roundtable ideas, we got down to the top 50. And at our last roundtable, which was last month, 16 of these top 50 emerged as the most relevant and timely opportunities to act on now. So at our roundtable breakout, we actually began to put a structure around some of these ideas. We created these project frameworks to start thinking about how to move some of these ideas forward. And I think where we're going to be needing some help is about 8 of these framework ideas were created. And while they're still works in progress, there is opportunity to get involved and to take the lead and to collaborate. And so we'll have that information available. I'll give you some website information. It's still evolving and we'll let you know more. But I wanted just to lift up a few ideas so you understand what we're talking about. Creating resilience hubs and centers at trusted locations, and Mark just gave a beautiful example. Expanding access to healthy local food through community garden spaces and humanitarian feeding programs. Utilizing natural buffers such as open space, ag, and green buffer zones to protect against fire. Restoring indigenous access and use to manage lands to reduce fire risks and improve ecosystems, and creating a green infrastructure master plan. So again, all of these roundtable ideas will be available on our website. We have all the past roundtable information there. So you can certainly take a deeper dive and dive into the deep well of resources that are there. So what I'm looking for, I think more immediately, is if you're interested or you're working in networks or hubs, or you're working in the area of health and wellness related issues, let me know, because I'm actually wanting to form some working groups in the coming months to really explore what's needed in terms of bringing to focus health and climate intersections, heat mapping, urban cooling strategies. What do we need locally to really move those issues along? And then creating maybe a study or learning group around resilience hubs and networks to see what how we can actually help support development of those further. So that's all for me.
Fantastic, Sharon, thank you. So did a 1.5 years worth of community listening, heard 700 different things, winnowed that down to several dozen, and then down even further to 8 that you're working on. You'd love for people to engage in that because this really needs to be a community-driven process. Thank you. All right, next up is Carmen Ramirez, followed by Barbara Wishingrad, and then followed by Diana Lovejoy.
Please put the timer up so I can time it. Thank you. I don't really see it yet. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here in Santa Barbara virtually. I'm here in my home in Oxnard, which is my home base and where I would not ever move from. This is the best place to live in Ventura County, in my opinion. I am now a newly elected supervisor for Ventura County. I had a very long struggle getting here because in particular, the oil industry totally spent $500,000 to keep me out, but here I am. I am working on continuing the legacy of groups like CEC'S and other groups, Sierra Club in Ventura County, which really work to stop a liquefied natural gas terminal. The Environmental Defense Center was instrumental in helping stop that with their lawyers and scientists, and then went on to help the city of Oxnard stop the Puente power plant. And none of that could have been accomplished without a very strong alliance between social justice organizations like CEC'S, which is in Santa Barbara, as well, assuming Pueblo, and groups like Sierra Club, a marriage of environmental groups and social justice groups coming together to see that if we're going to win these, we have to have everybody at the table because we do have strong forces against us with lots of money. So what we have is people power, and we need people power to get the right people in office and keep them in office. One of the things that the Board of Supervisors in Ventura County did, the majority of the board last year before I got here, is they adopted a general plan that really reduces and puts restrictions on oil drilling and requires environmental impact reports for legacy drilling. And I think this is very important because we have 4,000 plugged wells which pose a danger to our air and water, particularly our water. So I'm very interested in keeping our air clean, our water saved and not contaminated with the results of fracking, which looks like we're going to stop doing it, but it's not enough and it's taking too long. So the window is closing, as Greta says, and I think we really have to get on board with all the things we need to do to turn this around. See, I'm done.
All right. Thank you so much, Carmen Ramirez. I couldn't agree with you more, wanting to continue to build on the proud legacy of groups like CEC'S, the important victories that they and their allies are responsible for environmental justice and climate justice, which you pointed out would only have been possible, were only made possible through these alliances with folks across various different sectors. And I really want to lift up the last thing you said about mobilizing around the legacy drilling in order to keep our air and water clean. I am proud of the fact that folks in Ventura were able to get a moratorium on some oil well drilling in various parts of the county, but we need to go further than that. And of course, we're here to also talk about a just transition. So thank you, Carmen Ramirez. We're going to move now to Barbara Wishengrad from the Sweetwater Collaborative. Barbara.
Hello, everyone, and I'm really glad to be here today, and I just lost my notes.
Wing it.
Okay, so Sweetwater Collaborative focuses on helping our community use only low cost and climate safe water. We help to sequester carbon in the soil in every workshop that we do, and our classes and presentations teach about practices that you can do to implement that also. Now, people often think that any water crisis is a symptom of climate change, itself caused by excessive greenhouse gases. Droughts are almost always reported as the result of climate change. And it's true that greenhouse gas emission driven climate change has an important and negative impact on watersheds, warming temperatures and speeding up evaporation. There's also another story, and a lot of it has to do with the urban heat island effect and the fact that we are losing a lot of our natural way of infiltrating in the soil. And so the Sweetwater, through our classes, workshops, presentations, partnerships, professional trainings, tours, consulting, and coaching, we help our community live in balance with our local watershed. We teach about and promote practices such as climate appropriate landscaping, rainwater harvesting, infiltration, potable water conservation, and reuse. And this in turn keeps energy and climate costs of our water sources low. So rainwater harvesting, building a healthy soil sponge, and carbon sequestration are all strategies that work together and are part of the Sweetwater model. And particularly in our local climate, these practices help to build resistance to fires, other climate disruptions, and also rainwater harvesting earthworks can reduce flooding. So we go beyond water conservation, because water conservation, a lot of people think it's a pain, it's something that I'm losing something, I have to suffer for water conservation. What we're actually looking for is beautiful landscape transformations that are climate appropriate and make things even more beautiful and easier to reflect. Innovative water sources need to be part of the story. Sweetwater has led that conversation and will continue to do so. So I'm sorry, I don't see any timer, so I'm just going to assume I'm going to end soon and just say that our call to action is a couple of different things. One of them is that we have done a lot of hands-on workshops where we do community trainings, and we need people to join our committees, advocacy, governance, outreach, program development, funding, and fundraiser. Sweetwatercollaborative.org, info@Sweetwater Collaborative. Please look us up. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Barbara. Y'all are doing some incredible work. Natural solutions to the climate disruption, to drought, wildfire risks, to energy. crises that we're facing, food and water. Excellent work. Thank you so much. And so that last point you made, the ask, was very simple and direct. You need people to join Sweetwater Collaborative's committees, and I'm hoping folks will do that. And thank you, Lisa, for dropping that website in the chat. Next up, we have Diana Lovejoy from the Organic Garden Club of Ventura, and followed by Nadia Abushanab and then Kathy Nolan. Diana, please.
Hello. In 1970, I spoke at the first Earth Day in Pershing Square in downtown Los Angeles, and I'm still talking about saving the earth. Would you like to grow an organic food garden and create an amazing new space that can transform your life? Growing your own food is a great way to a healthy lifestyle. Organic gardening purifies the air, the water, and the soil, and produces incredible food. If everyone in the world planted an edible garden where they live, then we would save the earth and our own lives. With a raised bed veggie garden right at your door, you can have rainbows of brightly colored organic veggies at your fingertips. Anxiety and stress will melt away while you grow and cook from your organic veggie garden. You will find new life in the soil and healing in the garden. Plan the food you'd like to grow right now. Your garden can become a part of your day and nourish you physically and psychologically. Breathe the air purified by the plants. Absorb the warmth and radiance of the sun. Dig your hands into the soil, rich with antidepressant microbes, and eat delicious produce that you picked fresh at the peak of nutritional value and prepared simply with love. Everyone knows that local, seasonal, organic fruits and veggies are powerful boosts of energy and are the magic secret for all-around health. You can create a productive raised bed garden, as plants growing off the ground aren't as easy a prey for pests and diseases. Now, there are 3 big mistakes that a new gardener might make. You may say, oh, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough space. I don't have a green thumb. However, when your soil is healthy and alive with microorganisms, and you don't mind getting your hands dirty, you can grow anything. You'd be amazed how much you really can grow in a very small space. You will find that in 10 minutes in your properly set up organic garden can recharge your spirit and get you yummy organic food. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Diana. Really, really inspiring, poetic even. I really love the points you're making about how growing your own food can be a source not only of nurturing nutrition, but of healing. And I'm reminded of the fact that although I'm not a great gardener, I'm a pretty darn good composter. My composter right now, if anybody wants some, let me know. I'll drop it off at your house. It is producing worms like there's no tomorrow. They're amazing. So I'm gathering from your short presentation here today, Diana, that your ask is for everybody to learn to grow their own food, to plant a garden. And that is, again, a natural solution to climate change. So thank you so much, Diana. Up next, we will hear from Nadia Abushanab. Thank you, Nadia. And then followed by Kathy Nolan. Nadia, go for it.
Thank you, David. Yeah, my name is Nadia Abushanab. I'm really happy to be here. The first year I attended Earth Day, I was actually a volunteer, and that was in 2017 when I was a freshman at UC Santa Barbara. So I'm really happy to be here and have time to speak with you all. So I'm the Advocacy and Events Director for SB CAN, the Santa Barbara County Action Network. For almost 20 years, SB CAN has been advocating for progressive issues and promoting economic and social justice, as well as supporting the preservation of open space, agricultural and natural resources in the county, and holistic, sustainable community development. As you all know, we're still celebrating last year's victory of all 3 oil extraction projects in Cat Canyon, withdrawing their applications in the same year. And this was by no means done by SB Can alone, but we are all thrilled, and we were thrilled when we heard this news. And we're committed to stopping all new oil production in Santa Barbara County, but we cannot do it alone. We're looking ahead to 2 oil projects proposed by ExxonMobil that will be coming to the Planning Commission likely this summer. Aside from that, going forward, I see the next big step for this county to be a robust and comprehensive just transition plan. And SB Can has longstanding ties to several local labor unions, something that is often lacking in environmentally focused organizations. This year, we've advocated in support of project labor and community workforce agreements, and we're currently working with the Santa Barbara City Council to provide hero pay to grocery and drugstore employees. I see SB Can as a potential convening point for labor and environmentalists to have these discussions about fair and just transition. SB Can is unique in that its reach is truly county-wide, but we're mostly focused in the North County, where there are more working class families, more farm workers, more oil worker communities, and in general, fewer progressive organizations. One opportunity, especially in North County, for a just transition that we've been discussing concerns the idle and long-term idle wells that have not been properly abandoned. So with a dedicated funding source, oil workers employed by the soon-to-be-closed Santa Maria refinery, or those who would be employed by the proposed Exxon projects, could instead be paid to safely close these wells. This would reduce emissions from these leaking wells and protect our groundwater from potential contamination while providing good jobs to North County residents. Our solutions need to be based in trust and community, so it is really helpful to have the foundation that we do before attempting to do this important work. So if you'd like to support SB Can's efforts to support the labor movement, we're having a virtual May Day concert on Saturday, May 1st. And I will put the link in the chat, and as well as my email, so you can hear about the other work that we're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nadia. Really, really inspiring work that SB Can is doing. And just on a personal note, and you were a student I worked with at UCSB, and you just, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Really, really pleased to see you pushing and promoting and embracing a fair and just transition for our working folks who otherwise could be displaced and dispossessed of the means to feed themselves and pay their bills. And that is a thing of the past. 21st century environmentalism understands that we need to work hand in hand with labor. And as you said, closing those leaking wells can lead to providing good jobs in addition to doing the work of like preserving open space and other forms of sustainable development. Thank you so much, Nadia. Moving on to the next presenter is Kathy Nolan from Ojai Valley Green Coalition. Kathy, take it away, and we'll hear from Michael Barriere next.
I had to unmute. Hi, Kathy Nolan here from the Ojai Valley Green Coalition. And we're located in the city of Ojai in Ventura County. And our mission is to advance a sustainable and resilient Ojai Valley. We are a coalition, and I wanted to say that we have partnered with CEC in the past with solar programs. And basically, I'm here today to say we want to reach out and work more regionally. And so I know sometimes Ventura County is sometimes we're a little bit behind, but I just wanted to step forward with that. And I also wanted to say we kind of took a shift over the last year, and we're reimagining and relaunching our role in our local community and regionally. And we've also identified that systems change is the way to do it and to come up with solutions for climate change. So how can we be of service? Number one, that's the thing we have to offer. And then I do want to say that we actually have a new focus. We've been, all of our programs in the past, we've worked with transportation, food sourcing, food security, air quality, watershed, waste resource management, et cetera, all the good things that we know, all those sectors that we need to work on and identify. But we are now looking at bringing the youth into our programs and even onto our board, because they are the stewards of the future. So it's kind of a big shift for us, but I wanted to share that. And so our approach is now that we're using, it's nature-based advocacy and education. And we have a new program that we're going to be launching. We had to change the dates because of COVID restrictions, but starting in June, it's called Relatives with Roots. And it's art and education in the natural world. And it's an opportunity for kids to get re-engaged and, you know, being outside and learning about nature. We're going to be featuring our local Chumash elder, a botanist, herbalist, and a local artist to help do this class. And we're providing free art supplies. And we've got other programs that we're developing. So it's something we'd like to not only do in our region, but replicate and actually pass it on to other communities if they'd like to use it. So I think my big ask is to reach out and to regain strategic partners and to let people know that we'd like to reciprocate and share our program, in addition to some other programs that we're working on. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Kathy. Really, really exciting and important work y'all are doing there. And can I just say, thank you for the work you're doing on open space in Ojai Valley. Y'all have some incredible space out there, incredible trails. I've been out in the area for 3 of the last 4 weeks and really enjoyed my time there. On the point about youth involvement, I'm sure everybody knows this, but just want to lift up, we've got some great organizations in our space here that have done great work on that front. CAUSE, the Fund for Santa Barbara, One Step Alaves, Future Leaders of America, CEC, have all done really great work with youth. So, so plenty to build on. Thank you again, Kathy. Next up, we'll hear from Michael Barrier, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. And then we'll round it out with Katie Davis. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, David. My name is Michael Barrier, and about 11 or 12 years ago, I guess it was 2010, I founded a company called Barrier Energy, and our focus has been on energy efficiency. But since then, reaching back to a shout out to Hal Conklin, it seemed like we needed to focus a little bit more on education. And so I founded a nonprofit, and we just finally got our 501c3. But I got to say, welcome to the revolution, but every good revolution needs 2 things, a pithy slogan, and ours is first reduce, then produce, but you also got to have a book. And our book is Small is Beautiful, Economics as If People Mattered. This changed my life when I was in college, but the idea here is that this book has given us an opportunity to look at a shift in our paradigm of production, distribution, and consumption. And we're looking at 4 different areas: energy efficiency still, the production of energy, food, and what we call off-grid solutions. The idea here is to apply a simple test that comes from the book. What you're consuming, does it come from nearby or far away? Very simple. What we're looking to try to do is educate and actually implement strategies that localize, if you will, right? Nearby, as much energy, food, other solutions as we possibly can. Now, we need help with our Farm in a Box project. We're working with another community group now, but we'd like to get it cited at either City College, a prototype, or at UCSB. So if you have any hope, please, we'll take the assistance. One of the things that we picked those 4 topics because they really do have a significant impact, or could, on sustainability. I've heard some really good stuff here today about water and other things, a lot of energy, that kind of energy. But please get in touch with Beyond Energy Efficiency, and we'll post some information about it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Michael. Really, really great work. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Small is Beautiful, no doubt about it. That's not only a book, but as you said, it's also a pithy slogan. I also just really want to lift up what you were saying about local food production. Many of us are old enough to remember that is one, or at least was, one of the key ways that we defined organic food. It wasn't just about, chemical inputs, right? It was also about where was this stuff produced, and we seem to have lost a lot of that. So thank you. Your ask, you need help with the Farm in a Box program, SBCC. We know some great folks there. And of course, UCSB, we've got a number of staff, students, and faculty who are fired up about this kind of thing. So feel free to reach out to me, or I'll just volunteer Eric Zimmerman over there for that. So good work. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to my good colleague and friend, Katie Davis from the Sierra Club. Katie.
Hello, Katie Davis, as you said, Sierra Club, and here to all the other speakers. Thank you all for your leadership and for stepping up. It's always just an inspiration to hear from all of you. A few years ago at Earth Day, some of you may remember, we were fighting to get local areas to set the goal of 100% renewable energy by 2030, and it was unclear how they were going to do it. Now, everyone's rolling out community choice. We have a clear path, and even the most conservative cities in the region like Buellton have a goal of 100% renewable energy by 2030. So we can make a difference. And as we move to clean and renewable energy for our electricity, the thing we need to do is electrify everything, our transportation and our buildings, so that all of that's renewable energy and we're not using fossil fuels. Alexis talked about electric cars and buses and trucks. So that's one area. I want to talk about buildings and getting off of natural gas, because this is the big fight that's really heating up around the nation and is really important in our region to set these local codes, REACH codes, where we stop building out new gas infrastructure and build our new buildings without gas. Now it's healthier for us. It turns out that kids that grow up in homes with gas stoves are 40% more likely to have asthma. If you think about also particularly apartments that don't have good ventilation, it's a real risk. If you have electric heat pumps, it can also provide air conditioning, which we're gonna need more. So it's healthier. It's also less expensive to build without gas, and it reduces greenhouse gases. So lots of good reasons to do it. So my ask is to look for this. The Santa Barbara City Council will be voting on a REACH code next month in May, probably. Show up and support them, because unfortunately SoCal Gas has been really fighting these. So it is important that we show up and support our city council members for moving forward on this and being responsible. Please also ask other local city councils and counties to go ahead and set REACH codes. It's really important that we get this momentum at the local level so that we can have state action. And the other context, there's a big rally in Ventura right now fighting this expansion of a compressor station right next to a school. And that's to send gas to this La Galita gas storage facility, which is right behind me. Both of those things are really dangerous. Compressor stations explode, gas storage facilities present an ongoing risk. So if we can reduce gas usage, we'll also reduce the need for these kinds of expansion and dangerous expansion of gas in our area. Done.
Wow.
Happy Earth Day, everyone.
Oh, you guys you did it. That was so brilliant. Thank you, Katie. You were a good one to end on. So much enthusiasm, great information. I know 3 minutes is not very much time, but you all were really inspired, and I super appreciate. And that allowed, by keeping on that time, it allowed us to hear from more voices, which really was what a lot of this was about. So in a moment, we are going to shift to the next stage. We have another hour together, and I'm inviting all of you to stay with us. We're going to give you a little bit of instruction on that. But again, this is the opportunity and the experiment with how we can connect directly. So hopefully you heard some things in there that lit you up, that you want to hear more about, somebody that you might want to connect with. And we're going to use Zoom to figure out how to do that. So to that end, in a moment here, I'm going to ask Carrie Capel, our facilitator, to give us some instruction. But I do just want to say, you know, behind all of what we talked about today, I heard kind of two themes. One is really big, which is that the climate crisis is a symptom of a fundamentally broken system, social, economic, political, and environmental. And that really what has to happen now is we have to creatively reimagine how we live on this planet, from energy to food to waste to land use. And I heard some really interesting and creative ideas. CEC's mission is to reverse, repair, and protect around climate change. As I've been drumming on this entire festival, that there's a tendency for us to think of that as a challenge that's too big for us, for people or governments or others larger than us. But we know that to really resolve the climate change, the climate crisis, it's undeniably a local issue. So don't fall into that trap of thinking it's too big. I don't think anyone on this call has, because more than half of all the actions that have to take place, that are outlined in those national and international agreements, have to take place at the regional, local, or neighborhood level. So we heard some great examples, great opportunity to share information with one another. So I'm going to ask that we stop recording the this kind of public facing section now, and that we move to Carrie Capel, who's going to talk about how we coordinate virtually together.